Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Andrew and Jerry Save the World. I am Andrew Langer.
I'm still Jerry Rogers.
And we are live once again from CPAC 2024, CPAC Day 2. And because he has to come in with a story. Let me just set this up. I'm here. There's been a massive crowd scene. By the way, one of your colleagues messaged me to ask me what the crowd was like at CPAC, and I'm like, it's packed. I don't think he believed me. But Jerry shows up, and he is in the middle of having words with a gentleman.
Yes. Well, here's the thing, right? So we are centrally located. Look, listen to the podcast, but you can view it as well. We're doing video, so maybe this is one worth watching. So we're right outside the main ballroom here at CPAC, and when a speech or a talk or a panel is finished, it gets very crowded.
Right. And
sure enough, I timed it exactly right that the ballroom was emptying out as I was making my way to the AJ Save the World booth. Again, centrally located right here at CPAC. Anyway, and it's very crowded. And this guy is trying to like cut in and cut out. And there is a gaggle of elderly ladies in front of me. And I'm doing my best not to push them,
right. Being a gentleman,
not to interfere in their space.
Because you have ridden subways, crowded subways, and you know how to maneuver, and more to the point,
That's
protect
right.
the elderly.
And also just, leave yourself to yourself.
Right.
Anyway, so this guy is trying to cut in, and I turned back and I said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going the same direction as you. Just relax."
Yes.
And he maybe didn't like that. So then we're walking more, and his whole body touched my body, like from his knees to his chest. It was too much. It was too familiar. It was icky.
Yes.
So I turned around again and I said, "What is your problem?" I said, "Do you walk much? It's crowded. Take your time." Now, if this was me and I accidentally bumped into somebody, I would simply say, "I'm so sorry."
Right. Yes.
Absolutely. I was pushed. Instead, this guy has to be a Weisenheimer.
Yes.
And so I don't like the.
And he turns around and he says to you.
So we get to the booth and the man says to me, "Do you want to have a go? Do you want to have a go?"
Do you want to go? To which Jerry says, "Wait, do you want to make out with me?"
Oh my! I didn't say that. That's what Andrew would have said.
Do you want to make out with me?
If anyone knows me, everyone knows my response. I have one response to: "Do you want to fight?" What is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's throw down.
Yes. I want to go. Yes, I want to fight. Yes, I'm going to make you unconscious in a second.
You know, it's funny, Jerry. As I was driving here 2 days ago, because of course I came here on Wednesday. I said to myself, I think I want to change my license plates back to Maryland license plates because I want to drive like an a-hole. Like,
oh my goodness, yes.
Maryland.
And watch all the cops around here.
Well, I mean, okay, it's because it's
CPAC.
It's
like super.
Right.
Super cops everywhere.
Because there are, so we're at CPAC. Last night, the president of El Salvador spoke. There were protests outside.
There were.
You have a former.
Who's protesting the president of El Salvador?
Well, the comunistas.
Oh, right, yes.
The Sandinistas are protesting. Yes. And then there were counter protests. And of course, we have Nigel Farage here. We have Javier Milei's security chief. Milei is going to be arriving at some point in time.
Well, of course, and the president will be here.
And the president's going to be here. So there's a lot of
the former president.
Yeah,
I don't think Joe Biden's showing up.
Oh, I don't. Well, only by accident. That is that is the way. That is the way that it would go.
Yes.
So so that's why there is this massive police presence here. So it is a.
But I tell you this,
which is why, by the way, I was a little stressed out when you were having words with this individual, because knowing your answer of being yes, if this guy threw a punch, I knew that there was going to be some kind of an altercation, and that
it would have been so quick.
Yes, and but that would have still necessitated a police response.
No, I would have hit him under the table. I would have took him out and put him under the table.
Better would be mid podcast,
yes,
and all of a sudden,
and I would say to him, "Are you all right? You just passed out.
You just passed out. I don't know what happened to you." And he'd say, "Well, he hit me." And we'd say, "I think you're confused."
Really? You're confused.
I think you're confused.
You're having a Biden moment.
Yes. So that's where we are here with this. So
But it is a good crowd. It is well attended.
yeah,
I mean, again, from what I can tell.
no, I think it definitely is. I think it's also the tempo is increased. I think it's going to be even more crowded tomorrow with the president being here.
Yeah.
Folks have to remember it's different, right? So part of it is
Every CPAC
yes,
is
of course.
different.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to use the line.
I'm sorry.
But my point is that we are a week earlier than we have been in the past. We are not full into college spring break. This is not a spring break college CPAC as we've had in the past.
All right.
So we don't have those people. And of course, conservatives work. So, folks have jobs. So
Yes.
taking Thursday and Friday off, is a difficult thing. So folks may be able to take Friday off. So more people are going to come today.
Speaking of work,
And
just
even one
one personal note.
Please.
My daughter got her third job offer today.
Mazel tov.
The Claire Rose is graduating from Catholic University, and she has 3 job offers on the table. Isn't
Excellent.
that nice?
That's terrific.
And it's her top 3 choices.
That's good.
So
it's
I'm
always
so
good
proud
to have choices.
I'm so proud of
This
Claire.
is your first one that's really being launched, right? Your oldest?
Well, yeah. Well, Bridget's been launched. Bridget has been in the city.
That's right.
And she's worked for our friends at DCI and at Key Bridge.
Yes.
She's done a lot of public affairs work. She's a couple credits short of her degree, and she's going to finish that.
That's good.
But the 2 of them live together in DC.
Yes, I know.
Oh, yeah.
And the boyfriends live together.
Not together with my girls.
No, the boyfriends live with each other.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that weird?
No, it's not weird. But the point is, you have made very strict rules about the conduct between them.
Of course.
Yes, you don't want to find out. Am I peeling back the curtain too much?
They are not allowed to be in the apartment alone together.
Or if they do, they have to have both feet on the floor.
Well, look, if they do, then I'm gonna.
That was the rule in my house.
Yeah.
Is that if you had a member of the opposite sex in your room, you had to have both feet on the floor.
There's no one in their room.
Yes.
There's no one in their room.
That's.
I'll crush them.
I know you will. Yes, and I will get the phone call. Do you have your shovel? Do you have your tarpaulin handy?
I can't ask you now because you just said it.
Oh well,
you got to keep that quiet.
Okay, sorry. I thought we've talked about the Justice League on the air before.
Together.
Okay.
Oh, that's all only a joke, though.
So Jerry.
Andrew,
so we're here.
I would never do something.
Did you give me a wink?
No, I did not.
Okay, there you go.
Way.
So we're here at CPAC.
Indeed.
I'm doing this panel tomorrow, Jerry.
I'm excited about this. Tell our audience.
So
by the way, this panel that Andrew is going to do, I'm hoping to get video, and then we can cross promote it. And I'll put it up at Real Clear Policy.
So I have former Congressman Doug Collins from Georgia. I have Steve Moore, one of Trump's senior economic advisors.
And also Wall Street Journal and Heritage Foundation and
Committee to Unleash Prosperity.
And also the Club for Growth.
All of them.
I mean, Steve Moore is a
Freedom Works
supply side hero.
Yes. And part of the Mount Rushmore of supply siders.
Yes, absolutely.
This Committee to Unleash Prosperity with Phil Kerpen and Art Laffer, et cetera.
I didn't realize that Steve was going to be on the count.
And then, of course, Brendan Carr, FCC commissioner. This is why I bring it up, because Jerry made it a real point. He wanted me to make sure that we were going to talk about substantive issues
today.
So one of the things Brendan Carr was tweeting out about last night was a new proposal on the part of the FCC to put DEI content ratings.
Oh my goodness.
On broadcast content. And again, it gets into what I've been talking about, which is this whole of government approach.
Does the left just not want the free exchange of ideas? Did you see? By the way, you might want to read up on this for tomorrow. So Rufo from City Journal from the Manhattan Institute, Christopher Rufo, has a whistleblower report where Google has gone headfirst into DEI.
Of course.
And very dangerous. Google has labeled Ben Shapiro as a white nationalist and a racist.
You know, it's
Google,
funny. It's
corporation.
I wonder if this is along the same lines of our good friends at the National Center for Public Policy Research.
Yeah,
because they had the Anti-Defamation League levy charges against somebody on their staff of being an anti-Semite who's Jewish.
That's insane.
Which is where we are.
But this whole DEI is really the biggest threat to America.
Well, one of them, yeah, certainly. I mean, it's But
if I had to pick one, that's the greatest threat. It's DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I mean, I tie this all in. I mean, I think it's among them, certainly high up there.
It's divisive.
Well, right.
It's religiosity in a sense.
Well, I
in
mean,
terms of you have to accept on faith, not the facts or the data, but you have to accept on faith my belief that America is racist, that there's a pyramid, so to speak, of who's more racist, who's less racist, and also, of course, the oppressed versus the oppressor. Everything is oppressed versus the oppressor.
Right. My point in all of this is it's a sort of, I tie this into how it gets implemented, you know, in real life. So you're tying it into the the fact that they're doing this at the FCC, and it's not the only thing the FCC is doing, right? It's because the FCC, while they're talking about content issues here, they're also they've put out a proposal for these digital discrimination rules, which essentially create this means test that you can start complaining about some activity in terms of broadband deployment as being violative of these
Andrew,
disparate
there's
impacts.
no way to put this back in the bottle.
Yes. Well,
that's why it's so dangerous. And here's the thing. I said this on yesterday's show.
Right.
There's a reason why 60+% of 18 to 24-year-olds hate Jews.
Right.
It's because American youth are the first, this generation, Gen Z, is the first generation to be totally immersed into the DEI regime.
It's interesting you say that. We're supposed to be joined in a couple of minutes by a woman named Hadas Levy, and she's a singer. And going on the heels of our interview yesterday with the folks from Angel Studios yesterday, and the idea about reinculcation, one of the reasons why she got involved in this, she started singing again. She stopped singing for a very long time. I had a long conversation with her this morning, is that she is concerned about losing young people through the culture, right? It's the anti-Semitism in schools. It's the ESG and DEI in schools, and the
transgender religion in our schools.
Yes. So that's so. But the point is, it also comes back to the issues. In fact, here she is right now. We're talking about you, Hadas. So sit down. Let me make sure your microphone is on. There we go.
Everything on the go. I'm Jerry Rod. Nice to meet you.
Hadas Levy, she's a singer. She sang this morning the national anthem. She did a wonderful job. You have a new single that's dropping.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a second. But you and I this morning were talking about why you got back involved in singing.
Right.
And about the fact that we've lost young people in terms of culture.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think the culture is probably the biggest part. You know, you have the media is just so liberal, and the entertainment industry in general, it's always manipulating in the other direction, and they're bought out, and we have no control over it. You know, we have no
it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere, constantly, all the time.
Correct. We have no networks that are that big, that in fact only news, but no,
and the church, and, or communities of faith.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. But we don't have like an SNL or American Idol or that. You know,
we have. By the way, Andrew and Jerry saved the world.
Hadas, a contestant on American Idol season 2.
Yes.
Oh, semi-finalist, right?
Yes, semi-finalist.
Wait, say that again?
Semi-finalist on American Idol season 2.
No kidding.
Right, top 30.
I should remember. So my family, I have 5 children, 4 girls and a boy. Now the boy wouldn't have been around then, but we used to gather as a family and watch American Idol.
So this was with Clay and Ruben. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
My wife, Erica.
Yeah.
We got an Idol person on the show.
That's so good.
Excited.
Yeah, the vintage Idol.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I was born in Israel. I grew up in Los Angeles. I moved when I was 1.
California.
And yes, and I moved to Boca Raton 3 years ago during the COVID pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Florida.
One of the escape. Oh my God. When I left Los Angeles, I felt like I was leaving a third world country.
Right. Yeah. So, and you have several kids.
3.
So, because you were just talking about this, the issue of keeping tabs on your kids, how you, again, inculcate them in all of this. We talked about this yesterday in terms of sort of Jerry's philosophy with his kids, mine as well, sort of not teaching them what to think, but how to think. Talk a little bit about that with your guys.
Although, I have to clarify, when necessary, I do tell them what to think.
Okay, well,
they're young.
They need some
when
guidance.
They're little, you got to tell them.
They need some guidance,
when
definitely.
They're 21, I have, so my range from 23 to 9.
Okay,
and
yeah.
so how you
Right.
engage your children.
Jerry was waiting around for the boy.
I wasn't waiting.
Was the boy the baby?
He's a baby.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But how you engage? Like I was just saying this. My 21-year-old today just got her third job offer.
Yes.
And so how I engage my 21-year-old daughter
Right.
is different than how I engage my 14-year-old daughter or my 9-year-old son.
Absolutely.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
Right. My daughter, so I have 15, 13 and 6.
Wow.
But yeah. So my 15-year-old, she's working after school at a Planet Smoothie.
Okay.
And she goes to school. We had a conversation the other day about, that they have furries and the teacher acknowledges them by their furry name.
Oh
Like,
my God.
let's just say, for instance, the girl's name is Sarah. It's not, but she wants to be called Katerina because she's a cat,
Yes.
right? The teacher will call her Katerina. Now, growing up, my teacher would have, been, oh, Sarah, you're Sarah.
Yes.
And 50% of the school is LGBTQ or
Well, that's the
identifies.
It's recruitment.
It's culture.
Yes,
It's
yes,
all
yes.
culture. Just
Right.
imagine the kids are influenced by the TV shows, the music, everything
And
they
you
see on
can't get
social
away
media.
My
No.
9-year-old, it used to be where he or my kids could watch a show on a family-friendly station, but then all of a sudden, just recently, there's a book, a children's book series that Netflix picked up, and they made all the characters transgender.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
that's what they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I have a
Right.
6-year-old, right? And now you have YouTube Kids that's
Yes.
supposed to be safe for children. But these children's cartoons that are supposed to be innocent, well, the
not
boy's in love with
Yeah.
the boy, the girl's in love. Come on.
Right.
Come on now.
And
You have
also,
them teaching
absolutely.
them Spanish and they're referring to them in him and his boyfriend, her and her girl, her and her wife. They don't even have, I mean, it's crazy.
And the funny thing about that is that children don't care about this at 6 years
No,
old.
they don't need to
This
know.
really is, and I said this yesterday. I think there's something very sinister about how the left, but our culture broadly, wants to sexualize our
By
children.
the way, I will point out this is something Jerry predicted, and I will never forget this. Walking in downtown DC, Jerry and I having this conversation. It had to be about 2000. It was before you went. It was before you went back to New York.
Right.
And Jerry said, "I mark my words. As we go down this road of gay marriage, and I don't care who marries who, but he says, as we go down this road, it's going to be all about access to minors."
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. When you ask yourself, why are they promoting the LGBTQ so much? When you realize the answer, that's when you should be very afraid and scared.
Sure.
Well,
Okay.
the answer is they want to sexualize our children.
Exactly.
Right.
And most people don't even think about it. They just want to turn a blind eye.
Sure.
Just don't think about it.
No, they don't. They don't.
I'm very involved in my kids' lives. I coach, I coach, I and these sorts of things. And I'm amazed sometimes at when I hear other parents, and all my kids go to private school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so they're already in an environment. One of my kids goes to a Christian high school. All the rest go to Catholic school, and they're already kind of protected.
Mhm.
But even still, I talk to the parents,
Right.
and the parents are like, well,
Right.
Well, right, because they want to be friends with their kids instead of being a parent.
So I started my kids. So I moved to Florida. I started them in the private Jewish school. We're Jewish. The Jewish school was so liberal. So I
Right.
was like, I'm paying them for what?
Right.
To teach
Yeah.
them. So I put them in the public school. Now my daughter said something very interesting to me. She said, 50% LGBTQ, except for the people that play sports.
Right.
Why? And I'll tell you why. Because they have something going on other than TikTok.
Right.
All right.
Right. I love it.
Sports,
You know
sports for kids is so
You
important.
just said something that's profound.
Yeah.
And it might be the highlight of our show.
I would
So
agree with
I'm
that.
driving here today, and I'm talking to my sister on the phone. She's in New Jersey, and I said, "My Claire just got her third job interview. She's very together. She's very focused, and she's also a super athlete.
Yeah.
This is someone who ran track in college and high school, played soccer.
Mm.
Sports is what helped her organize.
Right.
Yeah, keeps
And
you
it's
disciplined.
disciplined her.
Yep,
100%. Right,
absolutely.
Right. Right.
And there's a winner and a loser.
Oh yeah, and there should always be
Yeah,
a winner and a
always.
loser. There shouldn't be a participation award.
But-
Sorry, sorry.
That's very interesting coming from a mom and someone who's engaged in the culture
Yes.
to realize the importance of sports. And what are they doing? They're coming after sports.
Right.
They're coming after.
Oh my
Of
God!
course.
So that
Come
whole.
on, the Black National Anthem.
Wait,
What is that? What is the Black National Anthem?
So I've been hearing that since I was a kid, but I wanted to talk about this volleyball, no, the basketball game last week
With the
where
concussions
they
and everything else.
they knocked the players out. Listen, I want to turn to, it's very important. We want to have you on because you've got this new single
Yes.
that you've dropped.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
iTunes. What does it tell us?
Yeah.
Is there a
Yes.
thing called iTunes? Yes, iTunes.
So
Yes.
God's Linked is the new music video that just dropped today. I think it's very important to keep God in our country.
Right.
You know, Israel and America are both a nation under God, and Judeo-Christian values are
Sure.
very similar and very, important. The album is American Dream. You can download it on any music platform, iTunes, Amazon, and Donald Trump.
What's the style of music?
A lot of songs on there are for Trump. It's American, nostalgic, pop,
Okay.
country.
But it's
All right.
but it's a country. It's
It is
a
a country
album.
Yes.
But it's also
It's
there's some
a pop album with some
Yeah,
country
that's
flair.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a pop
Well, no,
album,
no,
country
right.
flair, a little bit of Latino music and in there as well.
Uh-huh.
Hadas showed
Have
me
you
the video.
listened to
I saw the video this morning and it is amazing.
Thank you.
It's good. But so talk about this. You got out of you were doing music. You've been doing music since you were 12.
Yes.
Yes.
I was
Oh, before.
professional since 12. And I stopped when I got married, right? And I got married young, and I wanted to I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and I raised my kids. And I just got back into music after my third was already in kindergarten, and I moved to Florida and wanted to get active in, what's going on in America.
But
Yeah.
you felt the pull.
I felt
Right.
the pull. I
It's
was
a vocation
inspired
now.
for sure.
Right. That's exactly
Well,
it.
this is how, Andrew and I talk about it all the time. How are we going to reshape the culture or win some battles? We lose. Conservatives are constantly losing.
Right.
But I think you're critical to this. We're going to win it back house by house,
Right.
Yeah.
family by family,
Song by
genre
song.
song
By
by
song. I
That's-
love it.
But that's how we're going to do it.
Right.
We're never going to have SNL.
No.
We're never going to have.
But we could.
Well,
we
well, we
could.
create our-
Not
we need to-
yes.
we need to-
We
we need to
we
be funny.
need to create. We need to create our own.
There's two Angel Studios was here yesterday.
Right.
I
mean, Sound of Freedom. That was.
yes.
Yeah,
Well,
We need more. We need more. The culture is going to help us win back. What America stands for.
Right.
That's it.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. How do folks find out more about what you're up to?
You can follow me on Instagram, Hadas Levy 777, Twitter, Hadas Levy 777. I'm on Facebook. Follow my music, get my album, American Dream. It's out now.
I'm sharing it with the family. Hadas, thank you so
Thank
very much
you.
for joining us today.
Thanks, thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you so much. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Wow, that was fun, huh?
Great fun. And, again, I say this because it's true. This is how you win policy battles by winning hearts.
Right.
And again, I do think that our side has to be realistic. The other side is well funded. The other side, in many ways, is more strategic, and they put their money where their mind is. Our side, maybe because we're more entrepreneurial, because we're more independent, we don't organize as well. We don't raise money as well. And there's a lot of circular firing
One
spots.
of the points that I made to her earlier today is sometimes we want to short circuit the process or shortchange the process. Like you remember a few years back, there was a pro Tea Party rapper and there was the pro Tea Party rock group.
Yeah.
And
Those things make me worry.
here's my point is you can't lead with the political foot, right? You have to lead with what you love.
Well,
you have to
right.
lead with the content side of
the
it.
art.
Right.
I often
So-
thought about this, because Christian radio is very popular.
Yeah.
But I often thought a lot of the songs on Christian radio are just good songs. They're
Yes.
good. They're bluesy or they're
Right.
or poppy or they're whatever. And just go out and make music.
Yes. Agreed. No, I agree.
Just go out and make movies, make music, make shows, do podcasts.
Yeah.
Go on the radio. Look, I'm a Christian and culturally conservative and
I'm
pro-life.
listening. I'm just checking
and-
sound, Jerry.
But I don't sit on my radio show and just preach like a preacher. I engage the politics.
Yes, of course.
But from a Christian conservative.
But I guess
perspective.
my point is that you and I have known on the comedy side. I keep coming back to this. Comedy is harder than drama. And
People don't realize that all those comedy bits you see
yes,
is months, if not years, of working those things out.
My point is, we've had a number of folks who claim to be conservative comedians who are not particularly funny
No,
because they lead with that concept of the conservative comedian. But on the other hand, you get somebody like a Dave Chappelle who would never call
Right.
himself a
No.
conservative. And I think that's how it's going to go. Dana Carvey and David Spade sort of starting to talk about the fact that the emperor has no clothes.
yes,
That's how it begins.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld as well. And I think some of it is as the left gets more audacious in terms of how
Did
they
you see the
attack
bit?
comedy.
So Jerry
Yeah.
Seinfeld's on a he's on an interview show,
Okay.
and they're talking about comedians in cars having
Okay.
coffee.
Yes.
And the first question from the interviewer is, well, I noticed yet a lot of your guests are white.
Oh my God.
And Seinfeld didn't apologize. He said, really? He said, and he goes, look at your audience.
Yes.
There's a lot of white people here.
Oh, I thought you were going to go another way and say, I was watching your show and I noticed a lot of your cars are not electric,
No,
which would be the way to go with this, right?
He went right to the race. And
Yes.
long story short, Jerry said, I don't understand the question. I see, I hear and see funny. I don't see black, white, or
Right.
orange. And again, that's part of the problem.
So we're sitting down. Mary Walter's going to sit down and join us
Excellent.
for a couple of minutes here. So we just had on Hadas. You all right?
Day 3. Oh, my
Yeah.
back hurts. Everybody's got sneakers on. I feel like war weary.
Oh my God! We should only before we go back to this.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness! Oh cheeses!
You know what? This is horrible.
Jesus!
No, it's better.
In vain.
I
Oh,
can say
it's better. You're-
Jesus is not better.
Say good grief.
You're
saying
taking,
great
you're taking the Lord's name
No, I'm
and turning it
saying
into a
CH,
tasty
but
snack.
Yes, exactly.
Try not to say.
Oh,
It's still
okay.
Mary's right about this. It's still wrong.
All right.
That's
So Jerry,
That's a big sin.
I okay.
So Jerry and I are pretty much on the same page a lot. But
I know.
really love you, Andrew.
Yes, but
That's a big door.
that's
That's a big door.
a big
You were
door.
listening through that door. Don't be an idiot. I bumped the sky.
Yes, get over it. Second reference. Second reference to Charlie Wilson's Ward.
Such a good movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
only
I know.
men can quote movies like that.
Yes.
They can't remember,
You
to
just-
bring home
wait,
milk,
wait,
but
time
you
out.
can
I-
quote Charlie
now-
Wilson's
now
Wall
get
from
your point. I want you to
2003.
I want you to summarize the story. Jerry shows up for the show, and he is in a total lather and about to come to
this already.
blows. Were
But
you
you
here?
can tell it on the air. But
No,
I
no, we told it on the air. So I
Oh,
want
you did? Okay.
Yes. So you're-
Okay. Can I?
Again, I walk.
All right, hold on.
Don't do when I walk. I don't touch anybody.
Yes.
I don't.
But Jerry just
Run up
doesn't touch
against
people in
Get
person.
lucky like you not touching me. How does that work? Like, what do I have to do for you not to touch me? But so I actually was coming over here to
What
say
does that mean?
Yes.
I was actually coming over here to tell you guys that if one more person bumps into me, I'm taking him out.
There you
I'm
go.
going Jersey on him in a hot second. I don't care if it's a little old lady. They're going
The
down.
bottom line.
The nuns I won't touch. I will
when I
not
said
touch the
when I
nuns.
said
But
to him, "Hey, what are you doing here? We're all going the same direction." He should have said, "I'm so sorry."
Yes.
That's what I would have said.
exactly.
so sorry.
Exactly.
I couldn't
agree
help
with
it.
you.
The lack of apology.
But
So
instead, you get the look and the thing and like, who are you?
We're
Like
here
your
to
life's not
educate.
more important than my life.
We're here to educate people.
Help everybody.
So we just had a conversation with Hadas Levy, who is she sang the national anthem. She's a singer. She's got a new single that
She
dropped
was
today.
a semifinalist in American Idol
Semifinals
season
on
2.
American Idol season 2. And we were talking about culture and changing the culture. And I happened to mention she said something about SNL. We need she didn't say we need a conservative SNL. So which
Anything like that.
Gutfeld's hilarious. I love that
I
show.
like
That show is
Gutfeld.
hilarious.
But we don't have conservative sketch comedy.
Oh
Not
no,
that-
is it going to be you two?
It's going to be what?
No,
Are we leading up to you two
No,
doing
no,
it?
no. My point
I'm
is
naturally funny though.
the question being
And humble.
people who lead, they should lead with their funny bone first and not lead with their
Right.
their political perspective first, because it
100%.
never works out.
100%.
Well,
This
you-
is
we've
why
all known.
shows- Like I love The Chosen.
And
And
you too. First season's so good. We had this
Right.
conversation the other night.
yes, I
We
cried.
did. It's
When-
so
when-
good.
It's excellent.
When did you quit? Wait, I'm only in season 1. I
Well,
know how
the
it ends,
First
but
episode when Mary when
Are you getting emotional?
can I just say
Oh my God.
how awesome is it that we know what story they're telling? The first miracle was for a woman,
yes, Mary.
and the
That's when I
first
cried.
the first
Mary
that-
Magdalene.
yes, and the first person who was chosen was a woman. That's
There
all
you
I'm
go.
gonna
Well,
say.
but
Boom.
but here's the thing about scripture. about the Bible. All these folks who say the Bible is a product of its time. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
The
It's
first
not.
witness, Jesus
Yep.
rose from the dead. The first witness was a
Well,
woman.
3 women.
And
There were 3 women.
a woman couldn't give testimony.
Testimony, so they had to have
That's
men go.
right.
And who was the first woman who went to tell people the good news
Right.
that Jesus had arisen? Was the Samaritan
So
who was drawing water, a
but
woman.
people need to understand something.
And I
that
did
was
not like
so-
that, but I was like,
But it's so,
yes.
but the reason why I like that aspect of this story is because I hear people say, well, the only reason why Christians condemn same-sex attraction and is because of the culture. No, at the time, Roman culture was accepting of same-sex relationships,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was Judaism and later the church that said, no, God has something more for you.
Yes.
Right. Again, not judging in the sense that
Right.
you're hateful, but God has something more for you.
Yeah.
He created you for something better. Now, if you want to live this way, that's your choice.
Right.
I
I don't
know.
have, yeah.
And,
Right.
and look, Andrew and I have talked about this. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in divorce. Doesn't mean I want divorce to be illegal.
Exactly.
I'm a Christian.
I believe in God gave you free will and you can
Yes,
make
right.
choices.
The
And
only-
then,
the only
you know,
place where I don't on this issue is on the life issue. I think that
Yeah.
there's a compelling reason for the state to restrict abortion.
Well, right, because we're talking about another life, and that
Yes,
life has
right.
rights. It's the issues
Right.
of consent, et cetera, et cetera. I'm reminded of an essay I read probably 35 years ago, talking about Judaism and talking about kosher laws. And it was I think it was a rabbi or an activist, and it was a rabbi, and he wrote this essay, and he said, I talk to Jews who say I hate bacon or I hate pork products.
Who hates
Time
bacon?
out for a second. The point is, he said, God doesn't want you to hate bacon and not eat bacon because you hate bacon. God wants you to crave bacon and affirmatively choose
Yes.
to not eat bacon.
okay. So it's like your version of Lent, but it's for life.
Right.
Whereas
right.
we got 40 days.
yes.
And on the same-sex attraction issue, I read an account of someone, a devout Catholic, who was homosexual and never asked God to change him. Like I know gay men who have asked God to change, and I've always said you're asking God the wrong question. You're asking the wrong thing. Ask God to come by your side. Ask God to walk through this with you. God doesn't always change our circumstances because of that reason.
Right.
Because he wants us to choose him when it's difficult, because it's a relationship.
Gotcha.
Well,
And with this anyway, this one guy talked about his same-sex attraction. He called it his wonderful affliction, because he said because of it, that's how he found God and how much
Right.
God loved him. So anyway,
Well, it also gets into the issue of not living, not living for yourself, not living as though you're the main character in your life story,
right.
but living as though God or Jesus is the main character in your life story.
Controversial topic. I mean, it's easy to give up on your marriage.
Yeah.
It's easy to neglect your children. It's easy to take your resources and spend it on a vacation instead of your kid's education. I mean, so
Wait, it is?
we're
Shoot,
making-
we're thinking overall.
Well, my point is that we're making these choices all the time in
Right.
terms of surrendering and sacrificing for something else.
Got it.
This will be our religious podcast.
Sure.
Wait, can I come back then?
Oh, geez. Also, I'll end.
Oh, whoa, I heard a little bit of the word there. You almost took the Lord's name there.
No, I did not.
No,
I say curse words.
So, excuse me, very quickly, during Lent one year, I said, I'm not going to say, oh my God, anymore. Like, I'm going to stop doing that. I'm not going to say, although my grandfather used to call in the big three all the time, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Whenever something went wrong, that was my grandfather. And that's
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
my Irish grandfather
Yes.
every single time. So, but I gave that up for Lent. That's how I got rid
I'll
of it.
say
Go ahead.
Oigevalt. I'll just keep saying
Oigevalt,
Oigevalt.
yeah.
Yes.
Just to put a pin in the religious discussion, I think what God wants from us, yes, love, and yes, he wants us to be surrendered. He wants wants obedience. That's what God wants. He wants obedience.
Yeah, he wants that. Wouldn't give it over. So the only news from last night,
Yeah, which,
Mary,
by the way, I was not invited. That's all I'm going to say.
What was last night?
You were
dinner. I don't want to.
I
talk
was
about
invited.
it.
I didn't go.
Yeah. So
Because I might have to do
the
some
real
things.
the
might have a
downside
second plate.
to last night, Mary, was the cotton candy machine at this particular restaurant was broken. So
I'm sorry.
no cotton candy.
Wow, Jerry, don't you feel bad for him? That's so
I know,
terrible.
such a baby.
First world problems. You want to talk about first
Oh,
world
the
problems?
ultimate first
Oh
world
my
problem.
goodness.
So listen, I'll
How's your
I'll
room?
go down
You're
that
saying-
road. My room is great.
You have a king size
I have
bed?
a king size bed.
Tonight.
All right. All right. All right.
I have two queen size beds in my room. It might be weird, but you're allowed.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
you can do it.
I can
Well,
use
time out for a second.
the two queen size beds, and I'll
Use
take the room with the king bed.
Let me say something.
Problem
Here's
solved.
a weird thing where he won't stay in a hotel.
Time out. Time out. Time out.
Bron,
Hey,
are you
hey.
gonna stay in the
No,
Yonkers
we're not
together?
staying in the Yonkers together. We're gonna stay where else are. Oh
By
my
yourself,
God.
that you can't have a
What?
witness.
A hotel room. He doesn't live that far away.
No. Time out. All right. So hold on. Well, wait for you mean from here? I
He's
live,
out.
I live 2 hours away from
Oh,
there.
do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
But no, but the point is, all right. Jerry thinks it's weird that I went and got my shoe shine 2
Oh, it's
days
very
ago when I showed
strange.
up. He doesn't. All right.
Okay.
But
It's a very good profession. Nobody goes to them enough. So when I see one, you
You
should.
know what I do?
so
I shine my own.
okay. So Jerry says
You're-
it's
he's
shining
fancy.
shoes is weird, but sleeping in the same bed with another guy, that's fine.
No,
No.
what I-
Do you have a couch in your room? Do you have a couch? Do you have a hide bed couch? You
No,
don't.
no, no.
man,
Okay, so here, problem solved.
I used to work for a think tank and we would save money. And me and my buddy, we would travel to New York or Boston, we're in San Diego. And in order to save money, we would share a hotel room. I figured about
No,
that.
I think
All
if it's good enough for Abraham Lincoln, it's good enough for Andrew Langer.
okay,
That's
but
all
of
I'm
course,
going to
of
say.
course, there are the rumors about Abraham Lincoln.
When night that I can't come.
I'm farting. I'm dropping a big deuce in the
Why
in,
would you say
in
these
this
things
thing
in public? She's right here.
because you want you're
Wait, but
pressing
I'm
me for an
solving the
explanation.
problem. You guys can have my room. I have two queen size beds.
It's a bathroom.
I'll take.
Yes,
It's a bathroom.
Yeah.
Your-
That's
it's-
fine.
it's
home. It's
door.
Friday.
It's got
It's
door.
Friday
You
night
close
movie
the
night. I
door.
want to go home and watch
Plus for
movies.
me, what I love about my room,
I
I
just want
finally
you to know how
listen,
bad
I
your
have
bowel
finally-
problems are at this point in the
I have
conversation now.
finally cracked the code.
Like an
of-
Ozempic commercial or something, like one of those things that are like a Jardian.
I
I
love-
just see you
I
dancing
love-
like you're on a Jardian.
I loved Olestra. I loved it was great.
Oh my God. I had a conversation about Olestra with someone yesterday, like right around here. Did you hear us?
I must
You
have.
must have heard
Have you
us.
ever
Greasy
seen-
discharge.
Have you ever seen the have you ever seen the reviews for sugar-free gummy bears on Amazon? If you want to have fun and
We're
laugh
now off the
your
rails.
your rear end off, go and read the reviews for sugar-free gummy bears. because-
All right, quick.
Sugar-free
We're gonna
gummy
bring it back
bears.
to policy. We
I've
have
seen gummy bears
okay.
with marijuana in them, but with THC, but
Sugar-free
not.
go if you don't want to raise your blood sugar level.
They've got
But what happens is they've got it's whatever sugar substitute they use in these sugar-free gummy bears is a massive laxative.
Oh my goodness.
So it just
Why
it-
can't we get
it-
you some of those
there's-
then?
we have devolved into poop talk. Listen, all right.
I would like it noted
So-
that Andrew took us there.
Here, I'm gonna ask
Okay.
Mary and Andrew. Mary, you know what a Mary Andrew is?
No.
A Mary Andrew.
a Mary
A
Andrew.
Mary
I
Andrew
don't know what that
is
is.
a man who doesn't take things seriously. A Mary Andrew.
I've
I
never heard
learned that by
before.
watching Kate and Leopold.
Now we're officially
Anyway.
off the rails.
I like Kate. I like
get to come here and
rom-coms.
play arbitrator
Here,
between
here's
the two
the
of
thing.
you.
I'm gonna
Nice.
ask you both questions.
Okay,
All right.
okay,
I'm gonna ask you first and let Mary
All
think
right.
about it.
Sure.
okay.
I think she's more thoughtful than you.
Got it.
All right.
I think that's
What
true.
are the 5 big issues facing us right now this week? 5
This
big
week.
issues.
The border,
The border.
ESG and DEI,
Okay.
divisiveness, regulatory costs,
My goodness. He's
You
giving the, all right. All right.
Israel and the Israel situation,
Yes.
and energy policy
Okay.
generally.
I
Where's
would
the gas?
I would say Israel.
Okay.
I think that tomorrow, rumor has it that the Biden administration is going to put in a resolution to the Security Council to demand a ceasefire in Gaza. And I think that is literally the end of America. I think God protects America because we help
I agree with
protect
that.
Israel.
No.
I
And
agree
I
with that.
think we turn our backs and betray Israel. I think everything else goes to
First of
hell.
all,
Well,
okay,
yes,
this is
top
Obama-
5. I mean,
This is Obama's policy, first of all. But
Yes,
I was
yes.
going more immediate. So
All right.
the biggest things affecting me right now
Here we go.
are getting getting my luggage and all my shoes that I didn't wear while I was here out to the car in one shot, which is parked
Are you leaving
out
today?
in the park. No, I'm going tomorrow.
All right.
But I'm thinking about it now.
You have a whole
'Cause
day.
I made a run out to the car already because I had to bring
Right.
my bottle of bourbon and
Sure.
and I forgot my jacket was in the car. I didn't get that, so I put a suit
suit out there because there's only one. I'm only one person, and I'm a
Right.
girl, so I can't carry all this stuff. So I had to get that.
So that's number one.
That's number one. And number two is I want to see Javier Milei tomorrow,
Yes.
but he's talking at like 3. And if Trump
Yes.
goes on forever, and I would love to see Peter Navarro, who's after him, but if Trump goes on forever, it's going to go really late, right?
Yes.
And the odds of Trump not staying in line are really, really good, right?
But you have to come to my panel at 10:30.
Do you know what time I got out of bed this morning? I
Please.
sat in bed with a caramel macchiato and my fuzzy pants. And the only reason I got out of bed is because I had to meet our friend Mike Apelka because
Sure.
he had a bottle of bourbon for me at the elevator.
There you go.
All right. So my problem tomorrow then is that I have to get to Chevy Chase to take my girlfriend Rhoda, who's 92 years old, out to dinner.
There you go.
So I don't know if Javier Milei Rhoda. I think Rhoda wins. So that's my
Yes.
second thing. The third thing then is after I'm done with Rhoda, I got to pack everything up again. So I got to figure out how much stuff I got to bring into the hotel in Chevy Chase and to go out to the planes. So anyway, I was looking more immediate,
Got it.
not local.
I
Sorry.
understand.
Not to disappoint Jerry. I'm sorry. I was thinking more immediately local, and then you guys went into like world events.
Jerry wanted to. Yes.
Israel.
I wanted to talk about Israel today, and
I will agree with you in the big scheme of things, and people can think I'm crazy, but I do think that this country was divinely ordained. I truly believe that. I
Yes,
mean,
I agree
George
with that.
Washington said that,
Yes.
right? So you can think I'm crazy, and that's fine because I don't care. But George Washington made that reference several times, right? And look at the Lord's hand in things like weather on certain events, right? You know, like crossing the Delaware, like that
Sure.
was. I mean, they were protected,
What did-
and then all of a
what
sudden the
did
weather
Washington
changed,
say?
right?
What did he say right before he crossed Delaware?
I don't want to get
Jesus,
wet.
Mary and Joseph.
He said, "Get in the boat."
Yes,
Get the
bud,
boat
there you
up.
go.
All right.
But to that point, I also think there are people that are
Hold on.
also. I-
First in
I'm
war,
listening.
first in peace, last in
We've
the
gone
National
off. We've
League.
gone off, and Jerry's just leaving now.
I'm coming back.
I was going to be very serious and
Go,
very
go.
like.
Well, be serious with
Okay,
me.
so I was also going to say I think there are that God puts imperfect men in place at perfect times,
100%.
and I think Trump is an imperfect person who God has put in place at the perfect time. And people can think I'm crazy, and that's fine.
I did an interview this morning with this guy, Pedro Orta, who's a former CIA case officer, who was in the CIA for 18 years. And we talked about sort of his journey. He writes, he speaks, he's also an itinerant pastor. And he had done that before, actually, long before he joined CIA. But that was part of what we were talking about, was this idea of being in the right place at the right time.
Right.
You know, God putting you where you needed to be. It's very, very important. I know, listen, for you and me both, it can be a little hard because, you know, we were doing something we loved and then all of a sudden we're not doing that thing anymore, but there are reasons for it. Right. I know you're still trying to figure yours out.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. Yeah, whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's just to wander around. But
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but to your point, and I look at the things, and we had a producer on my last gig who didn't talk a lot, and he said, and again, if this may be going into crazy town, but he said, and he was always very quiet, and it was right around the time of
Hi,
when
Mary.
you just got up and walked away.
Yeah.
So you need to just sit down and be quiet now.
I could have pulled a Langer and just started yelling at people who were walking by.
Yes. I was doing that before.
Well,
Go ahead.
It's so much fun when you're a guest. You see riveting people
Conversation.
behind you, and then one of the hosts gets
Well,
up to go talk to them.
For context, a friend of mine walked by, and
You should know better than to interrupt
and
you
I
when
did.
you're on the air.
Well, he
Yes.
didn't. I
I'm just
texted-
saying.
Yes.
James
Anyway, I'm
Deere could
sorry.
be a bouncer.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
but anyway, he said, and I thought it was interesting. Oh God, sorry, I hit the
It's all right,
microphone.
don't worry
And he
about it.
made me think. He said that it was around the time of the Stormy Daniels thing when she wound up having to pay Trump. Remember?
Yeah.
He said, "Have you ever noticed that the people who go against Trump, eventually it comes around and goes against them?"
Right.
Well, I mean, again, something we talked
Stormy
Funny
Daniels,
rules.
Michael. She's going to get it too. And I
Yes.
bet you Letitia James and Ingrid, I bet you they get it down the road too.
What they're doing. Look, there was a really good piece today by Eddie Scarry in the Federalist.
Okay.
And he said, look, if they could go after a former president and literally steal his money and not allow him to appeal, then how does anyone else
Stand a
have
chance.
the chance in the courts?
Right.
Look at what
Right.
they did. Wasn't it in Beverly Hills where the FBI came in and they took all the contents of every single
Everybody's
one
safe
just
box.
deposit box?
It's crazy.
Because some of them, and it took them 4 years to get their
Absolutely.
stuff back, and they had to pay to go to court. And you get that money back.
It's, it's interesting because I've had a couple of conversations with Ryan Young and Jessica Malugin over at CEI. And one of their big things is the administrative court system in these federal agencies, where they pick the judges,
Right.
they pick the venue. And as you can imagine, I think it was the FTC, they've only lost once in, the last 35 years, and that's the problem. But you're absolutely correct. I made this point. I think maybe it was with Larry. I was on with him this morning. About, we have about 1 million to 1.5 million separate regulatory mandates out there. You and I have talked about Henry Silverglade, the 3 felonies a day. The bottom line is, with 1 million plus individual regulatory mandates on the books, everybody's liberties are at risk, right? Because they could just come after you for just about anything.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen to them. I was talking to
That's such a good point, Mary.
Yeah.
People think it's it's your problem.
Right.
well,
Until it's your problem.
this guy, Barry Morgenstein, the
Yeah.
photographer, right?
Let's
Right.
talk
Okay.
about-
So we're just talking about,
Yeah.
He was telling me about a friend of his in Brooklyn or wherever the heck he lives. And he was cop and he became a PI, and he has a really good, and he got this job, and it was an American company that
Yes.
hired him.
Oh, yeah.
You were there. You were sitting
Go
there.
ahead.
Right. And so long story short, this guy did this job years ago. All of a sudden the feds come knocking, and he was spying. They accused him of spying for the Chinese.
Yes.
And he's
Yeah.
like, wait, he goes, I was paid by an American company. Here's the receipt. This was
Right.
the check. And it didn't matter. They hauled him off. That's it.
Crazy.
That's it. This guy's now fighting for his life. So you think it can't happen to you?
The example I like to use
you're
is, so
right.
I was working my very first job. I was the reader for a blind environmental attorney, property rights attorney. And it was great. It was a great job. I learned a tremendous amount. Part of what set me on the road that I'm on.
Langer was a reader.
I was, imagine. But the point is, my mom, who was become more conservative. She's gotten older. She's one of those 9/11 moms who became more conservative after 9/11. But she was wondering what I was doing working for this crazy radical conservative, until my parents woke up one day
Why
and
did
they
you call him Sheik though? That was really interesting to me.
Sheik.
You called him Blind Sheik.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh,
yes.
but bums.
So the point is that my parents woke up and they came home one day, and there was a steam shovel in their backyard plowing through this stream in their backyard, and nobody had come to talk to them about it. My mom calls me up. She goes, "What do we do?" My mom never thought it could happen to them. This idea that the town would just come in without consulting with them and all of a sudden start tearing up the stream bed in their backyard. It's crazy.
And
It
what's
is.
going on?
Oh, well, so there was a stream in my parents' backyard, and they were nominally trying to correct the stream bed issue and the flow of the stream, and yet they never came to my parents to talk to them about it, and they
Say hello.
stopped to it.
How about you knock on my door?
Right,
Exactly.
This is why at the end of the day, look, we come full circle.
Yes.
Why at the end of the day, I felt it necessary to help that man not push and rub himself on people as he was walking through.
And try to get Jerry to go on a date with him.
Well, I was gonna say, was he good looking? Because if he was hot, maybe some people don't mind it.
Yes.
Even if you're hot, I don't rub up against me.
Right. Right.
Leave me be.
Yeah.
All right.
My
Like,
grandmother would say, keep yourself to yourself now.
I originally
Don't be doing that.
Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just I originally came by to just whisper to you guys that if one more person, bumps into me, I'm seriously, I'm gonna punch him in the throat. So, but I didn't have to do that.
I believe in apology.
Yes, and now we're done. So,
Anyways,
All right,
All
Mary,
right,
we're gonna let you
Thank
go. Jerry and I are gonna continue to have our conversation. We're waiting to see. We have possibly one more guest coming.
Who?
She is one of the spokespeople for the Trump campaign.
Oh, is this who we were talking?
No, this is somebody different. This is no. Oh my goodness.
no,
See,
don't.
I'm not going to.
No.
Don't worry about it.
Getting him to come over here.
No, no, you're not.
Walk away.
No, you're not.
In
Oh,
Jesus'
my
name, no.
goodness.
I just prayed. I just prayed. I'll kill her.
As long as he
Don't do
tells, if he starts telling dirty jokes, because so what Mary's doing, by the way, is a guy walked by. Oh my God, she's bringing the Muppet over. All right.
Carlson.
Oh, Puppet Carlson. Okay. Well, here.
Thank you, Mary.
So, Mr. Carlson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, hi.
Say hi to the camera. Camera's right there.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're
Puppet
doing.
Carlson.
What brings you to CPAC?
Well, I'm here doing the news. You guys know because you're doing it too. I'm with the DC Patriot.
Okay.
DCPatriot.com. And leave us on the.
Is this your
online
first?
channel.
Is this your first CPAC?
It is. It is.
Actually, you know something, Jerry? We can ask Puppet Carlson your question. So we were just talking about the 5 most pressing issues facing America right now. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I think the biggest thing facing America right now is the loss of the American values.
Okay.
Yep. Without American values, we can't do what we need to do, and we can't get people in line to fix things.
Good. Sure.
Do you
Absolutely.
remember when Steve Colbert
Yes.
went to Congress to testify in character?
Yeah. Yes.
What was that?
I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I didn't see it.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what I feel like now.
See, there you
You know?
go. I appreciate it. Listen, thank you so
Thank you
very
very
much for
much.
joining us.
Guys,
I appreciate it.
All
Take
right.
care.
Take it easy.
Enjoy.
All right.
Enjoy. So
That was my first time ever.
you, guys.
Thank you. I got one.
you've never interacted with a puppet before? You ever?
Mary's dead.
Mary's not dead to you? I appreciate that. So you were it's interesting because you were trying strenuously to avoid eye contact with the puppet.
Yes.
Yes.
With the puppet master.
No. I thought you were trying to avoid eye
Over
contact
here.
with a puppet. Yes. Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? This is what we're talking
This
about.
is why we lose. This is a
Well,
guy.
actually, you know something?
And also, we don't know what the DC Patriot is. What if it's some like neo?
Right. Yes, we
False-
just claim we don't know. By the way, we don't know who that was
So that's
or
why,
anything.
you gotta be careful.
But-
You
well,
invite people
yes.
to the show.
Yes. So
I don't know this guy. I don't know this guy.
it's like there's a guy who's walking around with a cat on his shoulder.
There's not.
There is a guy walking
real
around with a real cat, not a fake cat. It's not a cat ventriloquist act.
But you get my point. You invite someone on, and
Right. You
get a
want to have
picture,
some
and all
kind
of
of
a
you have
sudden,
some
hey,
kind of
there's Lachlan Rogers.
this gets into
you know,
this gets into the what we were talking about, what I was talking about, sort of
about
why I
furries, or what are they
no
called?
about well, not furries, but about folks who pitch themselves and how I use that as a general rule of thumb, unless I know them,
Right.
that if someone's coming by to pitch themselves, I usually don't have them on. Jerry, other big issues, man. What do you got going on Sunday for your show?
Oh my goodness. Well, the governor of Maryland is putting forward all of these proposals that sound good in cadence. The Enough Act.
Yes.
Leave no one behind, or the whatever it might be. And it's absolute insanity in terms of. I'll give you one example. He has this housing proposal that's going forward, and what he wants to do is undo all local zoning laws.
Wow.
Know why?
Why?
He wants to get rid of single
Family homes.
family homes.
Right. Yes.
And
which is part of what they're doing.
people are this as conservative because he wants to do away with red tape.
Right.
Zoning laws aren't red tape. Or
Well,
don't
they
have
can
to
be. They
They don't
can
have
be.
to
Right.
be.
They
The
can.
fact of the matter is, I might have bought my house in my neighborhood because there wasn't multi-unit
Right. Of course.
housing complex
Right.
nearby.
Right.
And also in the state of Maryland, you want a surefire help me out here.
I don't know. Surefire way to
To get Section 8 housing into your
Right.
neighborhood
yeah.
is allow them to build cheap multi-unit units.
Well, right. But what I was going to go is down this road because I had a neighbor on the Eastern Shore, someone I went to church with, who was very much a big proponent of the most red tape you can have. But he raised an interesting point, which is if you want to get rid of zoning and see what happens, all you need to look at is Houston and the sprawl in Houston
the
and
Bronx.
and
in
yeah.
the Bronx, what you have is
Is there
you
no
have-
zoning in the
you have-
Bronx?
Well, they undid. Look, here's my theory about what happened to the Bronx.
Okay.
So
Besides
you
the Cross Bronx Expressway.
well, that's part of it, right?
Right.
Disturbed housing,
Right.
All those neighborhoods destroyed.
Yeah.
But remember this. So up until the 60s and 70s, the Grand Concourse, what we call today as a South Bronx, Joyce Kilmer Park,
Yeah.
that area was predominantly working class Jewish families and Irish families.
Right. Of course.
And what happened was you had realtors
Yes.
and you had housing interests wanting to cut up all those beautiful brownstones
Sure.
and these big homes into multi apartments.
Right.
And so they had the zoning laws changed.
Yes.
And what happened was all the single, all the families moved out,
Right.
and then all the Section 8 and all the rest moved in. And within a decade,
Right.
1963, the South Bronx was beautiful.
Yes. And then by
1973, not so much.
by
You had
1977. Yes, by 1977, those are actually. I do want to turn our attention because you and I have not had a podcast since former. Well, okay, but before then we have not had a podcast since former Governor Larry Hogan decided to run for the United States Senate.
I'm all in for Larry.
Okay, talk about
Well,
this.
because it's my opportunity to show the idiocy of the Never Trumpers.
Yes,
Donald Trump is better than Joe Biden.
Right.
Period. There is no choice. Larry Hogan in the Senate is better than anyone the Democrats are going to put up.
sure.
So all you Never Trumpers need to think differently about your choice in November.
Have
And
you
all you Never Hogans
There we go. That's
need to change your thinking.
That's where I was going to go with this.
Say no to Hogan and yes to Trump. And you can't say yes to Hogan or yes to
It would
Trump
be
and no to
whatever
Hogan.
the opposite of whatever
Right,
it
but
is
you-
you said before. No, and that's where I was going with this is to sort of make that case. Where do the Never Hogans go? Is there going to be retribution against him for this, for his anti-Trump stances?
I don't. Again,
What happens if Donald Trump endorses Larry Hogan? Would Donald Trump endorse Larry Hogan?
Look. I was involved in campaigns. The worst thing for a local campaign is for those in higher office to involve themselves.
Right.
So when you run a mayoral campaign in a municipality, say in Jersey, you don't want necessarily the congressman to interject him or herself.
Right.
So I think Trump, as smart politics, should just stay out of it.
Got it.
I'm sorry. James is raising his hand.
Yeah, James.
Super listener. Sit down for a second.
Sure, James. Go ahead.
Wait. Talking here.
Sorry, right. Just
By the way, James is one of our great listeners and followers on the social media and everything else.
James,
Sorry.
how do you feel about puppets? No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I want to weigh in on the Senate race because I think you guys are absolutely right in that Larry Hogan is the only viable non-Democrat. to
Yes,
hold that
right.
seat at this point, and Donald
And the
Trump, for
pollsters have
all
already
those
said
years,
that
false.
Maryland is now in the GOP camp.
Is
Well, so far it's
Yes.
it's so early, and I have to keep
Of
that
course,
in mind.
but it wasn't even on the radar.
is there a primary?
Yes.
Is there a
Yes,
Republican
yes,
primary? Who
yeah,
who else is running? The one guy got out of it.
What's his name is running the
Lord Friend is in the race. and
Flick-
Robin Ficker's running
yes,
for Senate?
Flicker, yeah.
Ficker
Robert
Wyden?
Ficker's in it. Yeah.
He runs for everything, I guess.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's
He's like Dave
gadfly
Wallace.
at this point, but yeah.
Yeah.
He was here, by the way.
I know.
Anyway,
Yes.
but what I want to say is that I don't know if you looked at some of the numbers, but I think part of why David Trone's doing better against Larry Hogan than also Brooks is I think you have that coterie of Western Marylander who doesn't like Larry Hogan, and I think
And don't know Trone.
or they know Trone, and they know he's a liberal, but he's a good congressman. He's an attentive congressman for them.
Yeah,
So
but
they'll put that aside and vote.
I don't
for
think
Trone.
I don't think Trone's a good congressman though. I think he's radical. I
Well,
think
yeah,
he's
but I mean,
He's
but-
radical, but
Jerry, you pay attention.
right.
There are a lot of folks who
I
only
see.
know what
and
his-
Trone's
constituent
commercials are
relations is.
all the my father was a farmer and all this sort of nonsense.
But think about Western Maryland and fracking. And
Yeah,
Larry
I
Hogan
know.
killed
Well,
fracking in Western
They're
Maryland.
gonna have to.
I'm not justifying.
I know.
I'm
but
just
they're gonna have
saying-
to change.
I'm just saying my theory as to why Trone's doing better than also Brooks
Yeah.
against Larry Hogan.
Although also
is
Brooks is going to win the
Western Maryland.
primary though.
You think?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
It's all the endorsements. That
Yes, she has to win. You know
Except the
why?
Teachers union. The
She
teachers
has
union.
she has to win. Also, Brooks has to win
Wow.
because she's African American and she's a woman.
I don't know.
She has to win.
I think it's
Democrats
money
have to nominate her.
money talks, and I think
I'm telling you, Hogan's going to go all in for also Brooks and not Hogan. I'm sorry, Westmore.
That's more.
West
Let's
Slip.
break. Let's take a commercial break.
Well, no, I think we're gonna end it.
Oh, but you said you had a
I don't think they're showing up, and if they show up, forget it. I don't care. All
All right.
Yeah, we got
Well,
got
then-
stuff to do.
I salute you, sir.
I salute you. There we go.
James.
James, thank you so very much for joining us today. Jerry, you got a show on Sunday. Should be good.
Great show on Sunday. Right now, there's a really good at the Federal Newswire, a very good interview with the American First Policy Institute.
Yep.
Talking about China slave labor.
Excellent.
Very, very interesting. And then more shows to drop. So,
I've got an episode of the Lunch Hour. I actually haven't tweeted it out with Shea Bradley Farrell, who's a public or international affairs expert. Go and check that out. My panel tomorrow, 10:35 a.m. On the main stage. Steve Moore,
this is good. This is
Doug
really
Collins, and Brendan Carr. Jerry, what do you want folks to do?
Find the truth, plant your feet, and stand firm.
Have a great week, everybody. Have fun, and please stay safe.